Access.
This is Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
It was a meeting of two cities when the Montego Bay Convention Center hosted cocktails in Kingston at the Spanish Court Hotel, Worthington. Business Access TV was there to share in the moment.
First and foremost, on behalf of the team, I want to say a heartfelt thank you for being here. You could have been at other places, you could have been at other events, you could have been at other functions, but you found the convention center team very well to join us. So thank you again. All right? And so to go into this, again, just welcome, a heartfelt welcome. The Montego Bay Convention Center team is here. We have gone around, we have spoken to a lot of persons, but tonight it's very special for us because so many familiar faces, so many partners, so many clients, returning clients, possible clients, and the list goes on. So again, you will not hear me enough to say thank you, because that's a word that from the convention center, it's a part of us, and we really take pride in showing appreciation. This evening is truly special for us, for it has been a long time coming. Kingston has been a long time coming. And, Montego Bay Convention Center, of course, we opened our doors in 2011 and to the events and meeting industry. And, but connecting with our friends and our partners in Kingston has always been on the top of our mind. Over the years, we have received substantial support from our clients in Kingston. Therefore, this event had to be in our cards. And of course, we have a large deck, but you're on top of that deck. And we know good things happen in Kingston. So like many other parishioners, we packed up everything and we headed into Kingston on the town bus yesterday. Some of the team came in, when was it? Monday. And they say, Aaron, the traffic. And I said, it can't be worse than Montego Bay. And we found ourselves here sitting in this room 5:30 because we've said there's not one partner that is standing in front of us now that is going to be here and not see a team member from the convention center representing. So again, team, thank you. Hopefully, any guest tonight, and this is not meant to mean anything, but any guest tonight that have never experienced the convention center, unfortunately, you're in the minority. But what we want you to do when you're in Montego Bay, please come and visit. Sit with us, have lunch. Let's tour you. Let's show you the technology. Let's show you what some of our partners in this room have done with us. We have transformed the convention center. And of course, there are many events. And one of the things that we had looked at is how we put all the assets, the available assets, through our vendors, through our partners, together to really make the convention center what it is. The purpose of the convention center was never a self-sustained entity. It's to really contribute to economic development. And what we're measured on is not only profitability, but our economic impact. And we've seen it, especially in Montego Bay. But one of the initiatives that we had is to bring Kingston a little bit to Montego Bay as well through our friends and partners that are here tonight. So the Montego Bay Convention Center represents opportunities, one for us to think differently and see possibilities for now and the future. The center firmly places Jamaica as a viable destination for meetings, conferences, exhibitions, and of course, a selection of certain sporting activity that relates to sport tourism. So while the honor is mine to welcome you, I always want to thank you for taking the time out in engaging with us. Think differently. That is what I want to drive in your thought process when it comes to the Montego Bay Convention Center. Let us work with the possibility. Let us make the possibilities become a reality. The sales and events team, they're here tonight. And I really want to identify the team members. I know when it comes to this part, they tend to just come together And when I start to call the names, they're going to raise their hands and they're going to say who they are. And of course, we all know them. So leading the sales and events team is, of course, our director of sales and events, Miss Mavoy Smith. Of course, there's Mavoy. We do have the sales managers with us tonight. You do have Donald Thompson. Where's Donald? Donald? There he is. There he is. Thank you, Donald. And of course, you have Alexia. Thank you, Alexia. And there's one lady here that she's a blend of food and beverage and sales. We call her catering sales. That's Trishani. So food is always important. So Trishani, thank you again. Trishani Austin. Our senior events manager, Kyan Henton. Many of you know Kyan. Many of you have been exposed to Kyan. Spearheading the senior events. Thank you, Kyan. So again, we have one lady that keeps us together. She's Michelle Gordon. Michelle is really our executive assistant and of course sales administrator. Sometimes we're based on a property, based on an events, we're pulled left, right, and center. If it's not for Michelle Gordon, we term her MG, the acronym MG, we would be all over the place. So MG's responsibility is to keep us together, keep us focused, and also keep us well fed. Thank you. ASEAN, many of you heard from ASEAN, know ASEAN PR, marketing, sponsorship. What else? And he takes the beautiful pictures. So with your permission tonight, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN will, of course, on social media. I'm still catching up with technology. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, InstaChat. I got that right? Just joking. Just joking. So again, that's a team that is here tonight. And they're out, and they're here, well represented. So, of course, Dr. Guntley, my second mother. Wave your hands for me, please. Thank you. John Woolcock, he heads up the events department for Jamaica Tourist Board. And of course, the Convention Center. We're now a part of the Ministry of Tourism. We're an agency under the Ministry of Tourism. John, very vital to our organization, very vital in terms of the partnership and to allow Jamaica to be recognized again, not only as leisure, but as meetings and conventions. Because really, the large groups that the Convention Center will and the future possibilities to bring into Jamaica, of course, will create that economic impact that we're pushing for Jamaica to recognize. Not only about profitability, but looking at economic impact, whether it be indirect or direct, to see how that trickles down for the entire geographic location to benefit. So again, that's the mandate and purpose of the Convention Center in partnership with our main sister agency, the Jamaica Tourist Board. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you again, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
We're here at the Spanish Court Hotel, Worthington, for the Cocktails in Kingston. Why is it important for the Montego Bay Convention Center to have this event tonight?
It's very important to us because a few things that we have highlighted and wanted to bring forefront is that we recognize and appreciate our partners in Kingston, our clients in Kingston, our potential clients in Kingston. Of course, we do have these events just to mingle, just to share our thoughts process, not in terms of business, but just to get everyone inside a room. And of course, we just talk in a informal or formal environment, and we just get together. So that's really the purpose of our vendors, our partners, our agencies, from the ministries to our suppliers. We just get everyone in and show our appreciation.
You mentioned the Jamaica Tourist Board as one of your major partners. How has that relationship been?
It is excellent, and it is a relationship that has been in the making since our inception. The Tourist Board is very important to us. Jamaica Tourist Board, of course, is what we consider as our DMO, or Destination Marketing Organization, that assists the convention center in not only marketing the facility to any other destination that would willing to come offshore, especially the international destinations, but what they do as well is to market Jamaica and assist us in not only marketing as Sunsan and Sierra Leisure, but to ensure that Jamaica is seen as a meetings and events destination that can host large group in a first world facility.
And speaking of that first world facility, tell us a little bit about the Montego Bay Convention Center and what people can expect from the venue.
Montego Bay Convention Center, managed by SMG, a North American-based company that manages 85% of the public facilities in the world. Of course, First World, now we have a mandate to ensure that that First World facility is represented here in Jamaica. And of course, Montego Bay Convention Center opened its door in 2011 to the events industry. And what we really do is to host events. I mean, regardless from your weddings to your largest expos, to your exhibition, to your conventions, to your sporting events, to your church events. So we're an all-inclusive package. We're a flexible facility. And what we do is to host any and every event. So that's basically what we do. And what to expect is our people. We have a set of well-trained staff, and events is our core business. And what we did in the initial stage is to ensure that our team members, they're fully aware of all aspects of event management, certified and also recognized internationally. So what you will expect from the Montego Bay Convention Center is the highest level of technology, the best aesthetics, theme, and the best management you can think of bringing your event from a thought process to reality. So that's what we're all about.
And finally, now that you're here in Kingston for this event, what kind of connections are you hoping to make at Cocktails in Kingston tonight?
Yes, we do have quite a few corporate partners in Kingston, but what we want to do is to bring Kingston to Montego Bay. get Kingston to come to Montego Bay, see what the convention center is all about. So for potential clients that we do have, it's just to mingle, to invite them, just to, a short presentation, show what we're about, and then of course to invite those potential clients down, and of course get them to know the convention center, come in, explore the property, do inspection, see the technology, see the staff, meet the people, meet the strength behind the asset, and then of course we go from there. So in a sense, it's really to have Kingston in Montego Bay, and of course to expand our business, which that's the whole intention.
The Montego Bay Convention Center opened its doors about 8 years ago. What have we seen from the convention center over the years?
Well, the convention center since 2011 to now 2019, we've done a little bit over 700 events. We've done a lot of weddings, we've done graduations, we've done car shows, we've done meetings, conventions. We're home to most of the major churches in Jamaica where they do their annual conventions with us. So we're home to the Jamaica Baptist, the United Open Bible, the Jehovah's Witnesses, you name it, we're home to them.
And as was mentioned, the Jamaica Tourist Board is a major partner with the Montego Bay Convention Center. How has that experience or how has that relationship been over the years?
Very positive. Having the convention center in Montego Bay means that we have the ability to go after larger groups that will support the hotels in the area. And without the convention center, this was a void. So, of course, having a state-of-the-art facility in Montego Bay opens up a lot of opportunities for us. And we're seeing where MICE planners are really taking a very close look at the destination, whereas in the past they might have said, you know what, this group is a little bit too large for Jamaica or for Montego Bay. Now it's on the table. Now Jamaica is even more viable.
And can you comment on the impact this has had on the tourism industry over the years?
The Montego Bay Convention Center, as Karen Benjamin, our interim general manager, mentioned earlier, that our core function is basically to support the community. So our aim is to bring in, as John just mentioned, the larger groups to Jamaica, so it will impact the hotels. So we basically get heads in beds. You'll have the coconut man on the roadside being able to sell more jelly coconuts, the cane man, the nightlife, so the Margaritaville's, the Pier 1s, you name it, so it's like a domino effect. So all partners involved will be able to get a piece of the pie.
And it's only been here since 2011, so can you comment on what impacts has been made to tourism before and now?
Well, again, as Mavoy just mentioned, it's all positive in the sense that we're getting more business, increased business, more visitor arrivals coming in. Conventions that would not have considered Jamaica, now they're looking at the destination, they're actually booking the destination. So again, it's very positive. We have become even more competitive in the marketplace.
How do you see the center being utilized in new ways to pull more visitors?
We are trying to focus more heavily on the sporting events. So as it is now, we host the NCAA, that's a basketball competition every November, and this competition is aired live on CBS. So not only Jamaicans get an opportunity to see what can happen at the convention center, but persons internationally will be able to see what we're doing, and they may think to say, okay, so I can bring a sporting event to Jamaica. So it's not just meetings and conventions, we're pretty much multifunctional, which is why in our different spaces at the convention center, there's nothing fixed. So whatever the event is, we can accommodate it. If it's a car show, we can do it. If it's basketball, we can do it. If it's taekwondo, we can do it. So you name it, we can do it.
And anything new from the tourist board that you can mention?
The Jamaica Tourist Board is always looking at new opportunities. We have a very strong team in the market, so we are pursuing a lot of new ventures. So it's going to be great for Jamaica moving forward. We're seeing it in our visitor arrivals. It continues to grow. And again, it's going from strength to strength. But we have a gem in MBCC, no question about it. And all of our partners, from the hotels, the DMCs, the attractions, it's all very good.
Your company has hosted several events at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Talk to us about the experience working with them.
It's an amazing experience working with the team there. One of the wonderful things about the convention center and the team is that level of engagement. They take on your project as if it's their own, and they're really involved from start to finish. And it's something that you really appreciate as a project manager and an event manager, because you want to be assured that all of the details of your event are taken care of. Usually you're planning an event from Kingston at the Montego Bay Convention Center, so having that level of oversight, that level of attention to detail is really very important to us. So it's something that we really appreciate. After a while they become your friends. It's really an amazing team there. So I'd recommend anyone to go to the convention center. And it's not just about the team, it's about the facilities, it's about the facilitation, it's about the accommodation of each and every request. So I can't say enough good things about them there.
And how important would you say a venue like this is for Jamaica?
Oh, absolutely, very important. I mean, Jamaica, as the general manager just said, Jamaica is more than just sea and sand. And it's very important that you have a facility that can accommodate local, nationally scaled, as well as regional and international events right here on our shores. It's an opportunity for various industries to be showcased, for us to stage events that have multi-tiered opportunities for varied groups. So for the hotel sector, the broader tourism sector, for other persons here in Jamaica, it really makes sense for you to have a facility like this in Jamaica. And I can only wish that they go from strength to strength in terms of the range of services that they offer that will ensure that we entice as many people here as possible to utilize the services and the facilities that are here.
Hi, I'm Peter Shakir from Event and Entertainment Services. We're an event management and planning company, and we do many events across the island and abroad as well. We also own Jamaica Bridal Expo, and this is my partner Joanne Paxton, and she'll talk to you a little bit about hosting Jamaica Bridal Expo at the Montego Bay Convention Center.
We've hosted the Jamaica Bridal Expo at the Montego Bay Convention Center for the past 6 years, and Jamaica Bridal Expo is at home at the Convention Center. Everything is positive about the venue. The grand ballroom, what you have the expo in, the conference room where we hold a conference on the first day of activities for the expo, and the staff at the Montego Bay Convention Center is absolutely amazing.
Thank you for tuning into our coverage of Cocktails in Kingston, hosted by the Montego Bay Convention Center. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got the chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The poverty reduction program is funded by the European Union,
And it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service and also to gain experience in the working world and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run, it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Do you want to help change this world for the better? Here's one more day and one more opportunity to do just that. It's World Food Day, dedicated to fighting global hunger and undernutrition. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome and thanks for viewing today's pages of the island's most informative magazine program. So, the 2018 Global Hunger Index shows that the level of hunger and undernutrition worldwide fell to 20.9%, down from 29.2% in the year 2000. The projections show that at the pace of hunger reduction observed since the year 2000, approximately 50 countries will fail to reach low hunger levels by 2030. What can you do to help fight this global phenomenon? We'll have more on that and why this day is so important, and of course, eating right. Do stay with us.
Cancer, stress, high blood pressure. Guard yourself against these potentially deadly conditions by eating healthy. Give your body long life with foods such as low-fat milk, dried and fresh peas and beans, unsalted nuts and seeds, fresh vegetables, fruits and coconut water, and eliminate processed seasonings such as seasoning salt, soy sauces and ketchup. When it comes to meats, remember to remove the skin to reduce the intake of fats and oils. Meats should also be baked, steamed, grilled, or roasted. Fish is also a preferred protein option. To eat healthy, fill your body with a variety of foods from all the food groups. And remember, eat at a slow pace and in small bites to help aid digestion. This helps to maintain a healthy, balanced, and nutritious diet, strengthening your body to ward off illness and prolong life.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 16. St. Catherine is poised to get the largest number of affordable housing solutions since the development of Greater Portmore in 1992. On Tuesday, the Housing Agency of Jamaica and China Harbour Engineering Company signed a $9.5 billion contract to start the construction of 1,650 housing solutions at Catherine Estates. The 263-acre property will be developed over a 54-month period and is expected to start before the end of the year. At Tuesday's signing, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the project would be done in 6 phases and 14 clusters, with a studio unit selling for $5.5 million and a one-bedroom going for $6.6 million. The Catherine Estates development will have a new primary and secondary school, a church, police station, health center, 2 large parks, and commercial facilities. Prime Minister Andrew Holness was quick to add that the development would be strictly monitored and the covenants enforced.
The government has to take a stand as we build out more communities, because what we are finding is when you allow the community to deteriorate, then it becomes a safe harbor for crime and social deviance.
There has been a marked increase in the number of Jamaican businesses and consumers that want to invest in the country's tourism and hospitality sectors. That's part of the findings from the Survey of Business and Consumer Confidence for the third quarter of 2019. Pollster Don Anderson says the interest results from the general feeling that the economy is heading in the right direction. He also cites a reduction in unemployment and confidence in the government's programs as factors for this growing investment interest.
And the question came to us quite often, well, so where are people thinking of investing? Where are the investment plans? In what sector? So for the very first time in quarter 2, we generated this data. And we now repeated it here. And for the first 3 quarters, we're summing up year to date, first 3 quarters of 2019, we can see that tourism and hospitality It's now the sector that businesses are saying they plan to invest in or are investing in.
Mr. Anderson was speaking yesterday at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, JCC, Business and Consumer Confidence third quarter release. In the last 3.5 years, tourism arrivals have grown by 33%, and its revenue has grown by nearly 90%. The JCC survey also revealed that while the level of business and consumer confidence in the economy has declined in the third quarter of 2019, the indices are just short of the highest they've been since 2001. Government will continue stakeholder meetings with the parliamentary opposition and civil society to find workable ways to tackle crime. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives that the talks would take place on Thursday.
Which will address concerns, deliberate seriously the issues we face, and seek to create an uncontested political space in which there can be a national consensus on the crime-fighting plan for Jamaica. I think that is a positive step, a step in the right direction.
Mr. Holness gave the update as he sought an extension of the states of emergency in 5 parishes. More in this report from Sandria Clark.
As he argued for an extension, Prime Minister Andrew Holness revealed that the special security measures had resulted in a 35% reduction in murders across Westmoreland, Hanover and St. James. There was also 43% fewer shootings in the parishes. Between April 30 and October 8 this year, 901 arrests and charges were laid in the tri-parish areas, with 60 firearms and 4,133 rounds of ammunition recovered. As for the state of emergency in effect for St. Catherine and Clarendon, Mr. Holness said there had been a 62% dip in murders and a 70% decline in shootings. During September 5 and October 8, 302 persons were arrested and charged, while 11 firearms and 106 rounds of ammunition were recovered. Despite the successes, Mr. Holness revealed that Westmoreland, Hanover and St. James accounted for 20% of the murders and 19% of the shootings throughout the island. Meanwhile, St. Catherine and Clarendon represent 27% of murders in the country since the start of the year.
The threat of guns, gangs and dons in the area under the SOE remain prevalent.
The House sided with the Prime Minister and approved an extension of the states of public emergency in Westmoreland, Hanover and St. James until January 27 next year. Operations in Clarendon and St. Catherine will continue until January 18, 2020. Reporting for JIS News, I'm Sandria Clark.
The Caribbean's first and largest Confucius Institute is now open at the University of the West Indies Mona campus. Dedicated to promoting the learning of Chinese language and culture among Jamaicans, the building was opened on Monday. It was constructed by the People's Republic of China at a cost of $5 million. At the handing over ceremony, Minister of State in the Education Ministry, Orlando Terrelong, thanked the Chinese government for their generous 2,500 square feet investment.
The government of Jamaica and the People's Republic of China for ensuring that together, one Jamaica, one China, but most importantly, one humanity and one world, and that together, in the spirit of partnership, in the spirit of prosperity, in the spirit of brotherhood, that we can all ensure a better place for all humanity.
I really hope my dear colleagues in the Institute and the University will make full use of this perfect building and to make it into a new bridge of friendship between Chinese people and the Jamaican people, and a new platform of the culture exchanges between the two countries.
And finally, come October 30, the Heart Trust NTA will be hosting a new employment skills event which will see numerous Jamaican employers pitching their job offers to unemployed young people. The event, dubbed Get Hired, seeks to offer entry-level jobs to 60 young people aged 17 to 29 years old. The program targets recent graduates of the Heart Trust NTA National Apprenticeship Program who are awaiting employment. At a JIS think tank Tuesday, Heart's Acting Director of Employment and Career Services, Rayarna Wright, said 30 employers had signed up to be part of the initiative.
Once the employers identify to us that there are entry-level positions available, what we will now do is to basically do what we call something like a speed dating. So the employers are going to come and for the first time, they're going to be pitching to the young people why they should join their organization.
The event is a collaboration with the UK-based Prince's Trust International to support young people on their journey from education to employment. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Women are diagnosed with cervical cancer each year. The risk of developing these abnormal changes is associated with the infection of HPV. Not only that, early sexual contact, multiple sexual partners, and taking oral contraceptives increases your risk of developing cervical cancer. Ladies, protect yourself. Get tested. It is better to be aware than to be living in absolute fear.
With our agriculture industry booming, government is creating an avenue where local farmers can access global markets. Alex, that is the Agri-Linkages Exchange, is where products move from farms to hotels, feeding not just locals, but tourists too. Learn more next.
Many times, we have so many things that we can't sell. We have, because sometimes all the farmers goes out and plant Irish potatoes, and it's too much. So what we do is just use the phone, same place in the field, get to them, and they try everything, and they know it. Before them, we only have spoilage. We can't sell. So no matter how it glut in the whole highland, they find a way to unload it.
Bye-bye farm produce glut. Alex is here to move farmers' produce onto the plates of visitors to our shores.
The Agri-Linkages Exchange Center, good afternoon.
Mr. Mary.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Wilson. What are you doing? Okay. So what do you have reaping now?
We have a portion of corn ready, you know.
Is that sweet corn? Okay, sir. Let me just add that to the database for you. How much corn are you reaping?
We have 12 dozen corn ready, you know.
What's the selling price? 120 per dozen?
So, you can look the buyer for me anytime you're ready. You hear, boss?
Another problem, Mr. Willis. I'll post the information for you, and once the market is available, I'll give you a call and let you know. All right, Mr. Willis, thanks for calling.
As easy as that, farmers are reaping economic benefits through tourism. The Agri-Linkages Exchange is an electronic platform where buyers and sellers of agricultural produce meet. Currently, there are agri-brokers who manage the platform. They operate from the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, St. Andrew office. It's a collaboration between the Ministries of Tourism and Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. The center has raked in more than $50 million in sales for approximately 400 farmers across the country.
This program is dedicated specifically to the farmers, and what we were trying to solve was the fact that a number of our hotel, especially our hotel purchasing personnel, had difficulty getting produce that was in season, out of season, or even where they were located. So you'll find that particular fruits that will be in abundance in the eastern end of the island never ever gets to the west, and vice versa. For example, mangoes. Mangoes are very abundant in the east, and again, the west would love to have some of the fruits that we have in abundance at one place. So the Agri-Linkages Exchange platforms would have been a link to ensure that both buyers and sellers meet. At this point, we have 55 hotels on it. We have 7 agro-processors. We have about 5 retail operators, but the retail are really large personnel. And each day is another day in which persons are added.
I was at a production and marketing meeting, In my community, where we were discussing gluten, where we can unload our produce. So one of the road extension officer recommended us to Alex. I just get my phone, get registered, and that's it. Since Alex, we have more in demand than supply. It's been so good for us, trust me.
There are farmers who might not be technologically savvy to actually go on the system themselves, so they'll call into the center and ask, and these agro-brokers will be able to put them on the system.
On a daily basis, I would say we get from maybe 20 calls per day or so from farmers. A lot of the calls that we do get, surprisingly, are farmers who are new to agriculture. They are curious about what Alex is about. Persons are now realizing that technology, agriculture, and production can all mix.
We supply and deliver produce, fruits, vegetables to hotels and restaurants. It's about 10 hotels that we supply on a weekly basis. Hotels that we supply, it's from small to large hotels. We found out about the Alex Center through a farmer. It is a very good initiative.
On a daily basis, we probably make contact with 20, 30 buyers on behalf of our farmers, and they themselves, the buyers do call the center. Buyers request varied amount of quantity per produce depending on what the usage is. If it's for agro-processing or export, the volumes will range from as small as a small agro-processor may need 80 pounds of sorrel or 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, but then you have an exporter who will need 10,000 pounds of sweet potato, 15,000 pounds of pumpkin, 20,000 pounds of other produce. So the volumes vary depending on the usage. We walk with the farmers and we stay with them until the transaction is completed, until they're paid, until the goods are delivered.
Our hotels are interested in buying local produce. There's really no substitute for the produce that we actually produce here. If you were to import any of our grown provision, it wouldn't taste the same. And therefore, there's really no incentive for the hotels to be purchasing overseas. What we have not had from our local industry is exactly where it is and in what quantities. And Alex has been able to solve that mischief somewhat.
It's simple, man. Just get the phone or come down to the road where the office is, register with Alex, and that's it.
In the fight against undernutrition, let's explore one protein option that is found in abundance in inland water bodies such as ponds and rivers and the great big sea that surrounds our island home.
We all love our protein: chicken, beef, pork. But how often do we eat fish? Is it only at Easter time or when you're at the beach? Incorporating more fish into your diet can be very beneficial to your health. Compared to red meats and poultry, fish has far less calories and cholesterol.
It's the saturated fats and the trans fats that our bodies use to make cholesterol. And fish and seafood have very little saturated fat and trans fat. So in truth and in fact, that makes it a very healthy source of protein.
Fish also has iron, which is important for good reasoning and memory, iodine, which can prevent mental problems in children, and selenium, vitamins, and carotenoids, which are antioxidants. Who knew that we could get so many nutrients from fish? And that's not all. Incorporating fish into our diet can even reduce the chances of developing certain diseases.
Studies have in fact shown that people who have a higher intake of fish compared to other meat sources have less heart disease, they suffer from fewer mood disorders, and they have less cognitive decline with age, so less dementia.
This is due to omega-3 fatty acids, a nutrient that is only found in a few other food sources, such as walnuts and flax seeds. But oily fish, such as sardines, tuna, mackerel, salmon, and trout, are excellent sources of omega-3s, and are readily available at your convenience in supermarkets. So we want to add fish into our diet. In what ways can we do this?
So escovitch fish is one of our favorites. Now the onions and the carrots and the vinegar and the pimento, that's all fine. But we don't want to do a lot of deep frying. Deep frying adds calories. Nothing like a nice steamed fish, a nice roast fish. And when you roast your fish, you can stuff it with wonderful vegetables like callaloo and so on. So we have to find other ways. Many of us have broilers as a part of our stove and we've never utilized it. We don't know how it's used. And that gives us, I think, the closest taste to fried without adding a lot of oil.
So we've got different styles of cooking the fish, but what about flavor? Jamaicans love adding salt, but fish is already salty. Wouldn't that be too much sodium?
If we utilize other things like lime and lemon juice and or fresh seasonings or scotch bonnet pepper or onions or scallion, we can make our fish flavorful without adding a lot of extra sodium.
That sounds really tasty, but watch out for bones. Make sure to debone fish before giving your children. Even if the fish is bought deboned, check for fine bones with your fingers. If you're not careful, you could end up with a medical emergency. The recommended serving size per week is only 8 to 9 ounces of fish, or 2 to 3 servings per week. With an array of health benefits and a variety of ways to cook it, don't miss out on this lifestyle choice. Make a positive impact on your health by adding more fish to your diet.
It's the 9th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition, and this year we're talking slavery and reparation. Entries are now open, so listen up. Primary and prep school students, this is what you should do. Imagine that you are one of the 7 national heroes. Make your case for Jamaica to be compensated for the effects of slavery. Answer this question in an essay of 400 to 500 words and submit using the application form on our website, jis.gov.jm. Entrants must be aged 9 to 12 years old. Secondary students, the poster competition is for you. Submit your digital or illustrated posters to depict the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. The photo competition is open to tertiary students in accredited Jamaican institutions. Send us a photo, also representing the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. All entries should be submitted using the application form on the JIS website. For more information, contact 876-922-3590, extension 2137 or 2132. You may also email heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, and heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm. Deadline for entries is Monday, October 28. Go ahead, express yourself in the JIS Heritage Competition 2019. Just before we break, we showed you the benefits of adding seafood to your diet. There are, of course, other foods you will need to consume to get all the nutrients that your body needs for proper function and maintenance.
Eating healthy by having a balanced diet consisting of items from all the food groups and consuming the right portions is important to get the nutrients vital for disease prevention, growth, and good health. Essential nutrients are building blocks for the cells that make up the body, from bone to muscle, skin, and hair. One of the most critical ones is protein, which is made up of different amino acids, some of which the body can make on its own. We need a variety of proteins to function properly, many of which can only come from the foods we eat. Meats, fish, and eggs are essential sources from animals, while plant sources include beans, nuts, and some grains. How much protein you need daily depends on a variety of factors, including how active you are and your age. Carbohydrates are the main nutrients for fueling the body's energy needs, especially our central nervous system and brain. They help protect against diseases, but some carbohydrates are healthier than others. Some healthy sources include your fresh produce, such as yam, banana, breadfruit, and tubers, as well as whole grains, fiber-rich vegetables, and fruits. Less healthy sources include refined grains and products with added sugar. Fats often get a bad rap, but it's important to know that healthy fats are essential to our body's function. Fats aid in vitamin and mineral absorption, blood clotting, building cells, and muscle movement. Fats are high in calories, which is a measure of energy from foods, but the World Health Organization recommends keeping daily calorie intake from fat at under 30%. Including healthy fats, which are the unsaturated fats in your diet, can help balance blood sugar, decrease the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, and improve brain function. Healthy fats are also powerful anti-inflammatories and can lower the risk for arthritis, cancer, and Alzheimer's disease. Some of the well-known unsaturated fats are the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Sources of these healthy fats include fish, seeds, nuts, and vegetable oils, olive, avocado, and flax seeds. Trans fats are to be avoided, and we should also limit our intake of saturated fats, of which the main sources are animal-based and include butter, cheese, red meat, and ice cream. Vitamins are organic compounds essential for normal growth and are required in small quantities. There are 13 essential vitamins that the body needs, and these help lower the risk of diseases such as lung and prostate cancer. Vitamin A supports healthy vision, skin, and bones. Powerful antioxidants like vitamin C boost the immune system and helps the body heal. Eating a varied and well-balanced diet of fruits and vegetables should supply the body with the required vitamins. Minerals are also important nutrients needed for building strong bones and teeth. They help with regulating our body's metabolism and keeping us properly hydrated. The mineral calcium strengthens bones and teeth and helps with nerve signal transmission. It also helps to maintain healthy blood pressure and with muscle contraction and relaxation. Iron supports red blood cells and hormone creation, while the mineral zinc boosts the immune system and wound healing. The body also needs water, which improves brain function and mood, and acts as a shock absorber and lubricant in the body. Water also flushes our toxins, carries nutrients to cells, hydrates the body, and prevents constipation. Even mild dehydration can make us feel tired and impair concentration and physical performance. In addition to drinking water, we can hydrate ourselves by eating fruits and vegetables such as spinach and watermelon. Start treating your body right. As you grab your next meal, make sure you're getting all the nutrients needed in their right proportion.
At the top of the show, we mentioned that today is being observed as World Food Day. On this day, people around the world come together, committing to eradicate worldwide hunger in whatever way they can. Here are some reasons you should join the fight. Number 1, eliminating world hunger could save the lives of 3.1 million children a year. Number 2, ending child undernutrition could increase a developing country's GDP by 16.5%. Number 3, properly nourished mothers have healthier babies with stronger immune systems. Number 4, eliminating iron deficiency in a population could boost workplace productivity by up to 20%. And number 5, ending nutrition-related child mortality could increase a workforce by 9.4%. We're encouraging you to join the movement. Run with the hashtag World Food Day and hashtag Zero Hunger and help make our country and the world the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. That's all the time we have for you on today's show, but if you missed anything, you can watch it all again on our website or our YouTube channel. Don't forget to keep up with us on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. And remember, it is important for us to realize that we can make progress against world hunger. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
You're watching Business Access TV. Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to the 2019 Sterling Asset Management Investor Briefing being held under the theme, Is Export-Led Growth Right for Jamaica? Hi, I'm Elon Parkinson. Let's stay for the highlights.
Before we get into some hard-hitting questions, I'd like to give each person on the panel just 2 minutes, a strict 2 minutes, to tell us their outlook on what's going on. Our theme this evening is the role of monetary policy in driving export-driven growth. We'll get into that a bit more in more detail later, but right now I wanted to give each gentleman a chance to give us their outlook on the economy, what's been going on, and a chance to air some of what they think is most important.
Bank of Jamaica is focused now on building the wherewithal, the infrastructure, the methodologies of entrenching low, stable, and predictable inflation. That has been a missing factor for much of our history, and over the last 10 years, with a series of reforms, we've worked to get to where we are now, where inflation is fairly predictable, the external accounts are sustainable, the fiscal accounts are in great shape, the debt is falling. What we need now is the infrastructure that can entrench low and stable inflation as a long-term expectation. And that's critical to our growth prospects. It's critical to how investors behave, if they can predict the future with some certainty. It's critical to the exchange rate behavior. It's critical to maintaining a competitive exchange rate, which is a critical factor in export-led growth.
I mean, what I would say is at this particular juncture, there is a lot of discussion about Jamaica exiting from IMF financial support. Maybe I could take the 2.5 to say what does that mean for us or for the Jamaican people. For us, it means that the financial leg of our operation in Jamaica ends, but that's only one of the functions that the IMF performs as an institution. So we do lend to countries, that's one. But the two other legs will remain, because what we also do is that we do coach countries how to run policies, how to reform the tax administration, a wide range of issues. So we think of ourselves as coach. We also think of us, we are very ambitious, so we also think of ourselves as doctor. So we visit our 189 member countries to do what we call health check, even if there is no program, even if we don't have a lending agreement with those countries, we do visit them annually to perform health check and offer our advice on policies. And you will be surprised to learn that the latest data show that in 2018, lending was only 14%, 1/4 of IMF resources. The other 86% went to coaching countries and to doing the health check of those countries. So after the IMF program finished and towards the end of this year, the partnership between Jamaica and the IMF will remain. And as a matter of fact, the IMF office will remain open. So all the pillars that will help Jamaica entrench the hard-won gain over the past 6 years are being put in place. You can think about the Fiscal Council that Minister Clark has been pushing for, and there is a lot of work going into that to make sure that there is a watchdog that will ensure that whichever administration comes to power, there are binding fiscal targets that would guide the conduct of fiscal policy. There is a bill in the parliament currently on ensuring that the central bank is independent enough to conduct monetary policy freely. And there are all kinds of reforms precisely to make sure that the pillars, the foundations are there for Jamaica to sustain the reform momentum that we've seen over the past few years.
Well, that's good to know that the IMF will continue its presence. And of course, we really value, I know the local analyst community really values the data that both the BOJ and the IMF do a great job of putting out. We base a lot of our research on that. So we'd like to express our gratitude. And Charles, can we move to you?
Right. Well, I think that the real challenge remaining for us is to transform the output of our economy and the rate of growth. I think John certainly made the point that we've made progress on the fiscal and monetary side, or at least some aspects of that, very important aspects. But I sort of think of it a bit like riding a bicycle. If you are moving very slowly, it's difficult to keep your balance. And really what we want is that we want to maintain the hard-won gains of the last few years. And I think that having a faster rate of growth will certainly help in that respect. And so this is really why I think the whole issue of the export-led growth model is certainly worthy of some discussion.
I would throw to Dr. Lonkengwano, who has had some experience in other countries, and you referenced, Charles, an export-led growth model. Can you maybe tell us, Dr. Lonkengwano, is this model appropriate for Jamaica? And if so, what are maybe 2 prerequisites that you think would, and I'm sure there are many things that need to be in place, but if you would identify the 2 most impactful ones, what would you say they are?
Yeah, I think I will draw on a story to relate to that question. The Jamaican Manufacturer and Exporter Association, from time to time, they do this tour. So they visit one firm to look at their processes. It's a tour that I like to join because you have hands-on experience of what the firm goes through on a day-to-day basis. And during one of those tours 2 years ago, I won't name the firm, but it's a firm that is in business of spice, making spice, exporting to the US. So on the side, I asked the CFO, what is your most binding constraint? Is it the demand, that you don't have enough demand for your product? Or is it more supply in terms of running your operations? The answer was so striking. He said, no, the demand is there. The US market, I can barely scratch the surface. So the demand is not an issue because I'm looking outward. So I'm not looking I'm not looking at the 2.8 million people in Jamaica. I have a larger market, and the demand is there. So I don't face any constraint on that side. I asked, okay, why don't you expand if the demand is there? And he said, interest rates are very high. But that was 2 years ago. I need to go and talk to him again.
Another talk.
To figure out, because BOJ has been busy cutting interest rates.
Yeah.
And just to find out what is the state of affairs now, but the sense is that access to finance was a big issue then, and I understand it's still an issue because of the, part of it is the business model of financial institutions which were understandably used to running on government papers because government debt was very high. But now that the government is paying down the debt, banks are flush with cash, and the question is, how do you unleash that to finance private sector activity? So that's one constraint, I would say, access to finance to allow firms to expand beyond Jamaican borders. Because as a firm, given also the digital revolution, your market is not confined to Jamaica. So that's one. The second thing I asked him, I kind of pushed him, what else? So he said, US consumer. he said, I'm using the word that he's used, allergic to price increase. He said, basically, my price is, I can't dream of any price increase in the US market, which you will understand, right? Because inflation there is 1-2%. So there is no scope to increase your price. And what he told me was that the only margin that he has in terms of managing its cost increase and so on is the exchange rate. Because he get the same he get the same price in US. So for him to meet its costs, increased costs locally, which by the way includes security costs to fight crime, right? You need a lot of security officers. It's only if the exchange rate depreciates. Because when the exchange rate depreciates for him, bringing back those US dollars from his sales means sort of Jamaican dollar that he can then pay people, pay the security stuff, and so on. So exchange rate, I don't want to say exchange rate policy because there is no really such thing as exchange rate policy, but your monetary policy framework is part of the equation. And as Sir John just mentioned, the bank is very busy trying to entrench a low, stable, and predictable environment. So I believe inflation targeting is certainly the monetary policy framework that would kind of foster this type of export-led growth. So those are maybe two critical pillars: access to finance in terms of allowing those small businesses to innovate and reach wider market because they need to scale up. And then, the whole notion of monetary policy framework, having a framework that preserves what we call economists call price competitiveness, because you have to be competitive at all times. If your local costs are high, you need your exchange rate to shelter you against that so you can remain competitive on external market, because that's how people choose where to buy from. They choose based on the cost.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Deputy Governor Robinson, I of course had an icebreaker, easier question for you at first, but after Dr. Lankengwana's point, I must ask you a few things. One is, are you happy with the rate of growth of credit to the private sector based on what you have been seeing? And I know that the central bank's remit has nothing to do with the actual systems through which the money gets lent, but do you think banks are doing enough?
Well, one of the effects that we expect from our cumulative relaxation of policy is an acceleration in the rate of growth of credit, not distinguishing at the origin between personal and business. But we believe that if banks expand credit broadly, then that is a mechanism through which domestic demand can pick up and growth can occur. We understand, we have seen a pickup in growth in credit over the past 2 years. We're running now at about 15% year over year, which is much faster than we have been accustomed to.
That's good to know.
We think there is scope for even faster expansion. Banks are liquid, there is demand, there is a shortage of other assets, and the return on very safe assets is very low. So there's a great incentive for banks to find good credits and to expand their book. We're not reckless about expansion at all costs. There is yet another side to this, which is about bubbles, about credit risk, about the search for yields which go beyond due care. And we cannot afford a repeat of some of the issues that we faced in the past. So while we are promulgating a very accommodative monetary policy, we are mindful of the need to maintain credit quality and the need for a lot of that credit, where possible, to go towards business expansion. We don't direct credit. So who the banks choose to lend to depends on their assessment of projects, depends on growth sectors, prospects, and so on. But if there's a generalized response to very low, relatively low interest rates and an outlook for an accommodative monetary policy, this is one of the foundations on which we can spur faster domestic demand and growth. I just want to touch back on one of the points Constance made about the exchange rate. We've spent a lot of time correcting an overvalued exchange rate. Over the past 6 years or so, we have experienced a real depreciation of about 1.8% a year.
Wow.
Which has helped to correct a long period of overvaluation, which was measured at about the time the program started. This right sizing, right valuation of the real exchange rate is one of the foundations on which an export sector can grow. An overvalued exchange rate favors imports and acts as a disincentive for exporters to invest more in expanding their business. The person who is relying on the exchange rate to recover costs that he experiences locally, who then finds that there is a tendency towards overvaluation, cannot recover those costs that, as Dr. Longking says, is needed if you can't adjust your prices abroad. So a fairly valid exchange rate built on a flexible exchange rate system is one of the key pillars for favoring an export-led growth policy.
100%. I'm very glad you touched on that, Deputy Governor Robinson, and I'll give Charles an opportunity to, I know he has strong views on this, and there are also countries all over the world, to your point, that have employed similar strategies. Charles, I don't know if you want to touch on a few case studies.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could mention, several, beginning with, of course, Japan and Germany in the 60s. Singapore, South Korea in the 70s, China since then. But one of the things that I wanted to throw out to both Constance and John is that, that whole notion of the inflation differential, because it really is what, how the markets ultimately adjust. And Constance's point about exporters being price takers, it really means that the extent to which our inflation rate is higher than that of our major trading partners like the US and so on, then you almost have to automatically expect that level of adjustment in the exchange rate on an annual basis, on average. I don't know how we condition the country to accept that, but and of course, the other thing that we have to accept is that markets very often overshoot. If the inflation differential is 3%, It doesn't mean that there's going to be exactly a 3% adjustment. It may be 5, it may be 4, it may be 6, it may be 2. But, you know, there has to be that adjustment in order to maintain the competitiveness. And I think the other thing we have to accept is that it's better for the rate to be a little undervalued, because that provides an extra incentive rather than overvalued and provide a disincentive and a penalty for exporters.
All of what you're saying, all three of you, seems to be very sound economic logic. But for some reason, the broad society has not generally, and of course, as reflected in the media, generally is not accepting of these principles. Are Jamaicans too obsessed with the exchange rate? Are we looking at the wrong metrics? And why? Why would that be the case? And
yeah, so maybe let me start where Charles left. The whole notion of inflation differential, that if you're running inflation higher than your trade partners, in order to maintain your competitiveness, your exchange rate will have to close the gap so that you can be, you don't come across as too costly. Right? So when you start from that point, it's very clear that eventually, so there are two components. There is a medium, what we call medium to long term, not day-to-day movement. So there are, so over the medium term, like on average per year, your depreciation will be the inflation differential. Let's take a very simple example. The Fed target 2% inflation, and the Bank of Jamaica target 5%. So if they all meet their target, the exchange rate will have to depreciate by 3% to close that gap. And that's over the medium term, not every day. Because what happened on a daily basis is that one day, you'll have a lot of people wanting US dollar for some reason, just timing of their imports, because they need the US to import, and less people supplying because there are maybe few tourists came that day or whatever. So at each point in time, you wouldn't expect that to hold. You wouldn't expect that inflation differential to be a daily thing, because even inflation numbers are released once a year, once a month. So. And those markets, in economics, there are always transitions where things overshoot, undershoot, but then eventually there is auto-correction. That's just how the mechanics works, right? So on a daily basis, if there are more people wanting the US dollar than people supplying the US dollar, the price of the US dollar will go up. It's a commodity like any other commodity. And if there are fewer people wanting the US dollar and more people supplying, well, the price of the US dollar will go down, which is an exchange rate appreciation. So you wouldn't expect on a day-to-day basis that the exchange rate will move with inflation differential. But eventually, market forces will take you to that level that is compatible with the inflation differential. And the Bank of Jamaica has been very busy making sure that the day-to-day movements are not subject to distortions. So it should be market-based, in terms of making sure that market participants have the information flow. The market is very transparent, and I'm sure Sir John will speak about the BFIXIT, the mechanism that they put in place to make sure that the market function well. Because what you want on the market, any market, is that demand and supply meet. And you don't stand in the middle of the demand and supply. And eventually, the correction will take place, and you will expect the exchange rate to move with the inflation differential.
thank you. And Governor Robinson?
Well, two things I would emphasize, as Constant just did, the importance of low inflation. We're building a whole infrastructure to entrench that, from the legislative changes through to our now world-famous communication efforts,
Yes.
our training, our modeling, our whole organizational structure is being modified to take us to full-fledged inflation targeting as an operating framework. What we want to assure Jamaicans is that we have the organizational ability to reliably deliver on our mandate. So we're being given a core mandate, deliver inflation according to the target that is set for you. Communicate what you see ahead. You will be free to adjust policy to meet that goal. But over time, we want everybody to hold you accountable for that outcome. And once that track record is established, then people will adjust their expectations accordingly. We will have entrenched, low, stable, and predictable inflation, which is the one part of the equation which was being discussed, the inflation differential and expectations. Flexibility can be uncomfortable at times. If the rate doesn't move at all, then consumers feel happiest. They do. I mean, if you ask anybody who has to import a lot, what worries you the most? And it's usually the fact that the exchange rate may move against me by the time I have to pay for the goods that I've imported. Having an environment where these changes become more flexible, more predictable, more firmly based on the policy intentions of the authorities, I think people will adopt and adapt their behavior accordingly. There will be no certainty on a given day what the exchange rate will be. But if inflation is managed reliably and predictably at a low level, then we can, over time, expect no more than a certain rate of adjustment, and we can build products that can hedge against those expectations. So building an environment of stable domestic prices, building a system of exchange of foreign currency that is transparent, that is market-based, and which increasingly will become more accessible by end users. And I'll talk a little bit later about the trading platform that we're putting in place. But these foundations, monetary stability and exchange rate flexibility, will lead to a maintenance of competitiveness, which then leads to a more promising environment for export growth and growth.
Management Accounting Services. Keeping track of business performance is the key to driving future business performance. Having sound, up-to-date, and regular financial reports will ensure you are making well-informed business decisions in relation to matters such as capital expenditure, cost reductions, where future sales growth needs monitoring or driving, under or well-performing staff, or when is the right time to take on new staff. Dodge & Global can help you to prepare interim financial reports and therefore better advise you as to your future tax payments to prevent any surprises at year-end and to smooth out your tax obligations, saving you money. We will have discussions with you regarding the results of these reports and make sure you are aware of any pitfalls or areas that need your attention on a more regular basis. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global, website https://dodgen.global.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
In their recent Article 4 IMF report, they suggested that, maybe suggested is a strong word, but they outlined that, persistent unscheduled interventions in the FX market could have unintended consequences, so to speak. And my question to you is, does the Bank of Jamaica intend to continue to use the flash sale mechanism in the future, or will we be, as we get better at predicting the demand and supply, will B-Fix-It be used more regularly?
Well, B-Fix-It is a kind of halfway house. It's a step towards an eventual system of fairly free trading among dealers with end users on an electronic platform.
Okay.
What we've tried to introduce in this midway stage is to accustom dealers to help discover what the prices are in the market through competitive bidding for amounts that we sell during periods of shortages. We have had instances or episodes where we've been buying, but that has those left a sour aftertaste in the minds of market players because they thought we were buying at too high a rate. But B-Fix-It was meant to give notice and to sell into the market based on information supplied by dealers. So if they say at the end of June we see 20 million globally, then we will give notice that we will sell all or some of that into the market around that time. And that gave the assurance that dealers could fill orders from positions, knowing that additional liquidity will come to the market then. It has led to an expectation of smoothing, which I think is not the intention of our liquidity injections. The market has matured some more, and it will mature further as we move to more electronic trading. Currently, the market is testing a platform produced by Bloomberg, which allows them to view quotes among themselves, not to consummate trades online, but enough discovery among the players so that any dealer, yourself, can look online and see what every other dealer is selling and what amounts. We hope by the first quarter of next year to introduce our own platform, custom built for Jamaica, where players, dealers, can look at quotes, strike deals, and settle seamlessly through the BOJ accounts. So B-Fix-It was just a kind of halfway house. And we do subscribe to the recommendation that we not intervene too frequently or too heavily unless it's really disorderly. We have enough reserves, so we're not buying aggressively. and we're not seeking to support a particular exchange rate. So we intervene during periods of disorder, and those have become fewer.
Right.
There is more tolerance for flexibility. So there's less of a panic now when the rate moves by, 10, 20 cents, a dollar. That never used to be the case. So there's growing tolerance for flexibility. There is growing dependence on price discovery across the market. And soon there will be more seamless trading in a more modern environment.
The Bank of Jamaica governor, who has so far conducted the arrangements made by the IMF, as it were. How long is it the program will exist? And if so, why is it that the Bank of Jamaica is not encouraged to continue to finalize that project? That's a question to you and the IMF.
Can I clarify, seek some clarification?
Yes?
You're saying that...
It's not political.
I would have spotted it. No, but you seem to be unclear whether the program of reforms will continue after the IMF exits its financial relationship.
I'm not saying that. I'm just asking whether you have a program, a period for that program. Things have worked so well that the IMF, in fact, has said, congratulate the Bank of Jamaica for supporting the program. I'm asking what period, what is left of the program, and why wouldn't it be that the IMF would encourage the Bank of Jamaica governor to continue for that period to ensure that all that were planned have been effected?
Well,
the question.
The program that we're under, the precautionary standby arrangement, is virtually over.
Oh, it is?
Yes. There were no drawings under this program. The commitments were precautionary. If there had been a problem, a shock, we would have been eligible to draw down funds which IMF pre-committed. That wasn't necessary. We continued a program of reforms, and the performance under this last 2-3 years has been exemplary. We are institutionalizing those reforms on the fiscal side, on the monetary side, on the structural transformations, so that whether or not there is a financial backstop available on demand, we would have put in place sufficient procedures, institutional arrangements to continue these reforms into the future. So I don't think you're referring particularly to any one person as necessary.
No, there can be one person.
Right.
But there's a head.
But there is a set of arrangements which are sustainable. And I think this transition is just an example of how well things can work without external support.
So maybe very quickly, 2 quick points on that. Number one, I like it to be called what it is. It's the Government of Jamaica's Economic Reform Program. It's not an IMF program. We're just tagging along. These are sacrifices of the Jamaican people. This success is for the Jamaican, it has been on the back of hard sacrifice by the Jamaican people. So the credit goes to the Jamaicans. So the Jamaicans, it's not an IMF program, it's an IMF supported program. And this is one of the reasons why the program has been so successful, because the program has been owned by the Jamaican successive administration. It has been owned by the Jamaican people. That's one. Number two, we like to think about these reform as institutions driving them, not individuals. I mean, individuals are part of the institutions, but you don't want a system, you want a system where there is continuity. And one of the other reasons why the reform program has been so successful in Jamaica, and we haven't seen it in many places around the world, is that you had a change in administration, and the reform program, the broad parameter of the reform program remain unchanged. So there is the so-called policy continuity, which is so critical for investors, because one of the key elements that investors will be looking at is policy certainty. How much you can project yourself 5, 10 years down the road. Is not when you're investing today, it's not a 1 year, 2 year return you're looking at. You're looking at medium to long term. So we believe this is, the institutional platform is there to support any kinds of transition.
Crow Jamaica Risk Management Services, RMS. Risk management has become indispensable to a company's business operations and management strategy in this complex environment nowadays. Crow Jamaica risk management experts help to turn every risk into an opportunity. We are experienced in providing customized solutions to manage risks and increase transparency and accountability of the companies. Our core services include internal audit, internal control review, corporate governance, corporate compliance, etc. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com, website www.crowjm.com.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We've heard so much from the Sterling Asset Management investor briefing, certainly the perspectives of the IMF chief representative, along with Charles Ross and the BOJ governor. Charles joins us now to go into a little bit more into something that you said earlier about us having the real challenge of transforming output, which is of course a key part of creating faster economic growth. How close are we to getting that right?
Well, Elon, that is absolutely the multi-million-dollar question. And the reason that we had this theme this evening was really to explore that. Because at the end of the day, economic growth is what's going to lift our standard of living, is what's going to make everybody better off, is what's going to provide the resources for vital social services, infrastructure, etc. And unfortunately, we've made great progress in bringing down our debt and improving the fiscal balance, bringing down inflation, but we haven't been able to significantly increase economic growth. And so that really was the central theme of this evening's discussion.
So, for our viewers watching right now and saying, look, I want to get into exports, because that was essentially the theme of this evening's presentation, Where are the green shoots? Where are the opportunities? Point us.
Well, that's again another multi-million-dollar question. But as John Robinson mentioned, there has been a bit of a real adjustment in the exchange rate over the last few years, and that has provided some incentive for export-led investment. And we are seeing manufacturers in the food processing, agri-processing, agriculture, in that area, we are seeing some interest and some increases in export activity. However, as one of the people who asked questions in the Q&A pointed out, the volatility in the exchange rate, the movements up and down, which has recently become a feature of the foreign exchange market, that poses certain challenges for the exporters, because the 7% movement means the difference between profit and loss. So there are still issues, but I think that with the right signals from macroeconomic policy, the right sort of pricing, if you like, of the exchange rate, that will provide a significant boost to export activity.
Where this problem obtains in other parts of the world, has there been any kind of sector-led intervention to assist exporters? I'm talking now about finance houses like yourself coming up with products that could hopefully hedge against that eventuality for exporters.
Well, I tell you, one of the challenges with hedging is that you need to have the unimpeded, if you like, impact of market forces. And one of the challenges that we have is that we still have interventions by the central bank, so that really it's going to be very difficult to develop the sort of hedging mechanisms when you have periodic interventions by the central bank which have a major impact on movements in the exchange rate. And so you're not able to use the mathematical models which are inherent in these hedging instruments, because you're not really having the full impact of market forces. And you do have these periodic interventions which almost present discontinuities in the data and the data sets. And that therefore makes it very difficult to price the hedging instruments that you'd find in developed markets, or markets where there is less intervention and a more free interplay of market forces. So that's one of the challenges that we have. Really, we need to develop more of a pure market in terms of the foreign exchange market, so that institutions can develop these hedging mechanisms, I guess, without taking undue risk.
Much of what you heard earlier when it comes on to the discourse at the 2019 Sterling Asset Management Investor Briefing focused on the Bank of Jamaica's role in inflation targeting and how it has been managing the issue of the interest rates as well as the foreign exchange rate, primarily the Jamaican dollar versus the US dollar. I have with me the Senior Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, John Robinson. And you acquitted of yourself very well there earlier when the volley of questions came to you about the BOJ's policy. The BOJ's policy, though, is one that you have advertised, is one that you have tried to socialize the Jamaican public and indeed the world. It was picked up by an overseas network as to your marketing campaign around what I like to describe as monetary knowledge. How has the campaign been going and what's the reaction been like?
Well, it has been phenomenal. The coverage we have got, I've never seen any central bank get that kind of coverage on advertising their mandates. What we've set out to do is to make Jamaica, aware of what our mandate is. What do we care about? What do we want to do for them? And we want them to know about inflation. We want them to know that we are focused on keeping inflation low and stable, and that we are organizing ourselves to maintain that for a long time to come. A lot of people, even the word inflation may be new to them. So it has been a big campaign to teach people what inflation is, why they should care about it, how we go about controlling it, and what it will do for their way of life. We've used music, and that has taken off. We've used drama. We've done seminars. We're doing every possible outlet to get the message across. Soon you'll see billboards. You'll see video. You'll see more. But we want everybody to be aware of what BOJ does, what it cares about, and what it means for them.
And as people become aware of that, what's the call to action then? They now know. What do they do as a result of having that knowledge?
Once they understand that inflation, their experience with prices going forward is something they can predict, then it leads into how they negotiate wages, what they think of as being a good price for a future product. And it allows them to plan their lives a lot better. So it's about predictable prices, and which are low enough not to hurt them in their way of standard of living.
We consider our next guest an honorary Jamaican. He's the IMF's country representative, Dr. Constant Lonken Nguana. Welcome. And I say that to you because you have been all over talking about this economic program that's in tandem with the Jamaican government. And it's a partnership that has clearly worked well. Your short review of where we are, of course, we're in the evening of the agreement, but how has it turned out?
I'm happy to be associated with such a successful turnaround. I think it's fair to say that the Jamaicans have really turned the economy around, and you can look across the board what macroeconomists tend to look at in terms of indicator of success. Look at macroeconomic stability being entrenched, public debt going from 147% in 2013 to now about 95%. Amazing. And this is without handout from anyone. This is really the Jamaicans taking the decision to put their fiscal house in order. So a lot of policy commitment from successive administration. So policy continuity is something that is highly valued by investors and by consumers. A lot of maturity in the economy. What we would like to see some more, and that's what the government and the people of Jamaica are working on, to get some more growth. But we should not also dismiss the fact that the Jamaican economy has grown for 16 consecutive quarters, which is not something that you've seen a lot in the past. And also over the past quarters, you will have seen grow around 2%, which is almost unprecedented in Jamaica. So, there is a lot of positive, a lot more to do, especially on the growth side. And we're very upbeat about what we see on the ground.
You've just seen some truly thought-provoking insight, analyses, and commentary from the 2019 Sterling Asset Management Investor Briefing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elon Parkinson for Business Access TV, serious about business.
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream. that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation, and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment, and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms. We're on track in achieving our Sustainable Development Goals through realizing our Vision 2030 Jamaica. We will leave no one behind.
And I'm chilling right now because we're winning right now.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase one, where we look at social investment, and phase two, where we look at social impact investment. Now, in phase one, really what we are saying is it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase two, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
Coming up on Wealth Magazine Business Access, we'll be speaking with Yannick Page, a trailblazer who has embarked on a journey to transform how SMEs do business. Being an entrepreneur herself, Yannick will tell how she got into business on a shoestring budget and made a name for herself as an executive producer, business coach, and the managing director for Future Services International.
I'm Yannick Page, Managing Director, Future Services International. Yannick Page is an entrepreneur who is living on purpose. My focus is to empower people. I'm a social entrepreneur, and any business that I'm involved in is usually one that is socially driven, one that I measure success by the impact that I'm able to have on people's lives. So I started as a pioneer in legal funding and litigant support, and have diversified into a number of different areas, in particular business support services, a big focus on building Jamaica's entrepreneurial ecosystem, and a more sophisticated entrepreneurial class, right? People who are focused on starting businesses out of opportunities and being able to create jobs and wealth for themselves and really make Jamaica a better place. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, right? And so I try to create balance in all of those roles. I was born at Nuttall Hospital, and I started school at Immaculate Prep. That's my earliest memory of school. Just a very strong sense of discipline. I kind of grew up for some of my life with both my parents. Eventually my parents got divorced, and so I pretty much grew up in a single parent household, right? With a very driven mother who was very entrepreneurial, father, same thing. And so I kind of developed that passion for entrepreneurship very early. Very early we were taught that the way that you actually earn an income is through hard work and creating value for other people. When I was young, I didn't have any confidence. I really didn't. And I would walk with my head down like this. And my father would say, walk with your head up. And it's something I didn't understand, why he would drill it and he would insist. But now I realize that once you get your children to develop that sense of confidence, they are able to do almost anything, right? Because if you build yourself, I believe you can build almost anything. After Immaculate Prep, went to Immaculate High. I passed for Immaculate High School and enjoyed my years there until I got to fourth form. And in fourth form, you have to choose your subjects that you're going to do in CXC. And I wanted to do a mixture of the arts and the sciences. And at Immaculate High, they pretty much allowed you to choose, but then they would make the final decision for you. And I didn't get any subjects that I wanted. And so I moved. My mother was able to transfer me to St. Andrew High. The first term in fourth form, I started at Immaculate and then I transferred to St. Andrew High for girls. And I did 2 years there and was able to do exactly what I wanted to do. So from very early, you kind of see the kind of parents that I did have, because my mother was very focused on, I want you to do what you want to do. And I'm not even going to allow the school system to restrict you in terms of determining your future. And that's something that was very impactful for me. It's something that as a parent, I try to emulate myself. My high school years were my worst years. A big part of that was because my parents were going through a divorce, and it was very traumatic on the entire family. And those are things that I still remember. And life just completely changed. And it was very difficult to kind of manage that adjustment. The second thing is that when I actually passed common entrance and got to high school, I couldn't see anything. I remember going to class and I could not see the board. And actually, I remember that I couldn't see from even common entrance, right? I remember that I couldn't see. And what was interesting was that I was actually very nearsighted and didn't realize and didn't say anything. And so I would actually just tune out of all the classes because I couldn't see. I was at the back, can't see the blackboard, and I wasn't learning anything. And so for years, it wasn't until really catastrophe when, I was pretty much failing in almost every single subject area that, they decided that, okay, we need to get this child some psychological help, and we need to see what's going on. And in all of those investigations, I realized that, the changes were having an impact on me, and that I couldn't see. And just actually getting glasses changed my whole life because I started to perform better. But at the same time, I think a lot of the fundamentals had been lost. That platform was really, when in first form you should be mastering a lot of the subject areas. I didn't do it then, and so I literally struggled throughout high school. And it wasn't because I was dunce, And it's amazing. I think, and I'd like to say this. Children bloom and people bloom at their own time and their own pace. And we have an educational system that still does not recognize that children go through different things and that people go through different things and that they will bloom at different times. And it's the same for all of us. And that they have different likes and different areas of specialization and things that they are better at. But we kind of have this one size fits all. And I was very fortunate because there are many people who have gone through the education system who have a lot of potential in several different areas. But without that strong family support, they'll actually never reach their potential. And that for me is sad and disheartening. And it's something that I hope that we can change and impact, because it's something that really holds us back as a people. I remember that I had a history teacher who I cared for so much. She was somebody that I really liked. And I remember her saying that she didn't think that I would amount to much, And it was very impactful because here was a teacher that I was fond of who was already pronouncing, right? And who was really unkind. And it kind of was that moment when I thought, okay, I'm not going to amount to much. It's amazing. And for years I carried that. And I remember when I started my first business at 17, and things were really down. I started my first business, and after 2 years I had to close it. It was devastating. I worked very hard. I worked 6 days a week at a beauty and skincare store. And we did beauty products, manicure, pedicure, and everything was just wrong in terms of the location that we chose was wrong. There wasn't adequate parking. It was upstairs. We didn't have a budget for marketing. The products were too expensive. They were imported. I was just doing everything wrong. This is why until you build yourself, you can't really build anything. And I remember that when I was at rock bottom, I was thinking, boy, all these people were right. I'm not gonna amount to much. But my mother had this thing that she would constantly say. She would say, Yannick, the stone that the builder refuses will become the cornerstone. Yannick, the stone that the builder refuses will become the cornerstone. And she would repeat it to me again and again. And even when I felt like this was the end, even when I actually had to close the store and I was broke, I owed everybody. I remember being somewhere and being so thirsty. I said this up to recently, being somewhere and being so thirsty. And I couldn't afford to buy a drink. And I remember looking for every dollar coin I could find, and it wasn't enough to buy a drink. And I was stuck at this place for several hours. And this nice man came to me and started talking. And I was like, okay, this man is trying to pick me up. And eventually he said, can I buy you a drink? Listen, if I didn't believe in God up to that point, that was because I really felt like I was going to faint from exhaustion and heat and dehydration. And here is this man just out of the blue. God just sent him to buy me a drink. He really did, and I was so grateful. But to this day, if I drop a dollar coin anywhere, if I go to the US and drop a penny, I am certain I'm not leaving it. It's a principle that has stuck with me. Every dollar is valuable because I remember what it was like to be at rock bottom. Years ago, I was seriously injured in a motor vehicle accident. And I suffered head injuries. My head had to be shaved. And I actually had other complications as a result of that.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
My entrepreneurship career pretty much started at age 17. I had done sixth form in 1 year. And I was ready to start a business. You know, I didn't see myself going back to school. It just wasn't something that I wanted for myself. So I kind of grew up seeing everybody in business and I wanted to do that. And again, I had the work ethic right. I had the ambition right. What I lacked was the knowledge. I wasn't mature enough. I didn't have the education. And so I needed to have built myself. So that 2 years was a heck of a lesson, right? I worked very hard, 6 days a week. Very long hours, and the only time I ever remember being paid was during peak season, like Christmas, Valentine's Day. But outside of that, I was literally bearing hungry for 2 years. And at the end of that period, my mother decided that you're going to go back to school. And she said if she has to sell every piece of furniture in the house, she's going to find a way for me to go to university. And she did that, and I literally scraped in with her pushing me. If it wasn't for her, it wouldn't have happened, would never. And I give her everything for that. And so I literally scraped into university, had to work and go to school. I got in at what you call lower level matriculation, which is really when you barely get in. And so I decided that I was going to work very hard. And I decided that I knew what it felt like to be at the bottom and I didn't want to be there anymore. And then she would keep repeating, the stone that the builder refuses will become the cornerstone. So when I got to the University of the West Indies, right, I worked really hard. All the lecturers knew me by name. I would sit at the front of the class. A lot of these lecturers would still remember me because I was a person who would ask a lot of questions. I really did read for my degree, and everything was applicable to me. This is why I strongly believe that there's such huge value in working and going to school. And I think if everybody had the opportunity to do that, would be better off. Because there was a big difference between myself going to university and my colleagues who had never worked. They weren't as focused. They weren't as diligent. And I had everything to lose, and so at the end of doing my first degree, I did a degree in management studies and psychology. I actually won a scholarship to do a master's in development studies with a concentration in social policy, and that was a big thing for me because I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. Unfortunately, I won an academic scholarship. And then I did that and did exceptionally well at the Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Studies. And I graduated at the top of my class with distinction. I copped every award. And it's fascinating because I really believe that people bloom at different times. So here was a C student throughout high school who then went on to, top my cohort at the university, in postgraduate studies, we have some very distinguished politicians, and even our Prime Minister who was in my cohort. at Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social Economic Studies. So, you know, we really had very brilliant people there. And, you know, it's a testament, I think, to just the fact that, you know, when you work hard, doesn't matter what your circumstances were before or how hard you struggled. Once you want it, and it's your time, and you own it, you can achieve it. My professional career post-university involved, you know, teaching and research. I actually was a teaching and research assistant at the University of the West Indies. And after that, I, you know, went into social policy. I was, you know, my focus was really on how do I solve social problems. That was a very important thing for me. And so I worked in several different organizations, companies, but at the back of my mind, I always wanted to start a business. And let me tell you which business I wanted to start. And I don't think I've ever shared this on camera before. I know I've never. Okay, so this will be the first time I'm sharing this. You know, years ago, I was seriously injured in a motor vehicle accident. And I suffered head injuries. My head had to be shaved. And I actually had other complications as a result of that. And at the time, I was entitled to not only have all of my medical bills paid for, but all of the pain and suffering, you know, there were so many other things that I was entitled to, and that nobody told me about. So here it was that I suffered this major accident, which really set me back, and nobody told me what my rights were. And it wasn't until the 6 years passed, so 6 years, where the statute of limitation has been exhausted, that's it, that I actually learned what my rights were. And so I always wanted to make an impact in the area of justice. And so that was a motivation for starting Future Services International, which is Jamaica's first legal funding and litigant support company, first in the Caribbean to offer that kind of service, where we focus on helping people who had suffered any kind of loss, injury, damage, or harm by, one, educating them about their rights, two, connecting them with legal professionals, and three, actually providing funding, right, so that what happened to me would not happen to anybody else. It wouldn't have to happen. And that company has been transformational in so many ways in this Jamaican landscape. And so many people have been able to access the formal justice system because of funding that we've provided, right? And that's something that I'm very grateful for. I think it's purpose. Sometimes we go through really horrible things, and the aim is for you to really learn and make an impact so others don't go through it. Sometimes you ask, why me? And you kind of say, well, why not me? Because I'm the person who can actually and until you felt it, you don't know what people go through. And I felt it. And so, interestingly enough, having launched Future Services and having seen clients who actually got justice, we would follow up with them, right? I'm really passionate about following up with people, see how they're doing. 6 months later, people would tell us that they exhaust their settlements. These are people who couldn't work. And so I realized that people actually needed financial advice, right? They needed to better spend this money because some of them couldn't work after. So I approached financial institutions, wrote to them, called them, would you be willing to give financial advice to our clients? And they said, no, this is not, these are not customers that we would want, because pretty much is what they were saying, because they get one-off settlements. And when they put their money in, they're just going to come and take it out. So it's expensive. They just didn't see them as valuable clients. And so you know what I did? I started doing business training for clients, started offering workshops, and that's what piqued my interest in terms of how do I actually move on to become a certified entrepreneurship trainer. And then I started doing work with the Young Entrepreneurs Association, and I realized that people needed advice and support. And then I thought about my own journey as a young entrepreneur, and that, you know, if I had the knowledge, I don't know where I would be. So I said, well, you know, let's do this on a big scale, right? Because I had been exposed to television and I had the skills. I knew how to actually try to create a program, and so that's how I actually ended up creating The Innovators, right? Which is a TV show that really has helped so many entrepreneurs. The aim is to get people to think about, how do I start a business? How do I do it in the right way? What are the resources that are available to me? And so that's the platform, and that's how I got into that. I have a new company, and it's called Market Entry USA. It's registered in the United States. And the problem that this company will solve for many Caribbean businesses is access to the US market and connections within the US market. And the reality is that governments and experts have been telling entrepreneurs for years that you cannot focus on your market alone. You have to try to export your goods and your services, and you have to find more attractive markets, and you have to earn foreign exchange. And Market Entry USA will be doing that. And that's what's exciting for 2017. One of the things that I've been very fortunate to experience is a lot of exposure globally, both on the entrepreneurial space generally, as an entrepreneurship trainer. I'm a writer for MasterCard. I'm a writer for the Sunday Gleaner, and it's Miss MasterCard Caribbean, and my articles are now translated in Spanish for MasterCard Colombia, and that's great impact, right? It means that anybody, you don't have to have any big last name, you can look just like me, and all you need is that education or the skill that you want to develop, and you can really globally make an impact. I've focused a lot on helping women. Women in business has been my passion, and young people in business as well, but especially women, because I grew up with a single mother who was an entrepreneur, who worked very hard and who just didn't have all the facilities that she needed. So it's very difficult in terms of childcare, in terms of taking care of her own. We take care of the elderly, the children, and financially it's hard, right? So I am the official representative for We Connect International in the Caribbean. I represent the Caribbean. We Connect is a global nonprofit, one of the largest and most well-respected for women entrepreneurs globally. What I've been able to do is to get We Connect to come to the Caribbean. And what We Connect does is that it enables women, business owners, who want to access global markets and global networks to do so. And it's through certification as well as education and empowerment and actual, making those connections and bringing them to the table with corporates who are actually looking to do business with women. I will focus on businesses not because they have the potential to generate huge profits. Other people can do that. We have enough of those entrepreneurs. I focus on businesses that can make this country a better place, this region a better place, this world a better place. That is my vision. And I need to do that and at the same time maintain my role as a mother, a wife, and that I also take care of Yannick. And that means that there has to be balance and harmony. So I'm not afraid to say I have probably an abundance of opportunities. There is no shortage. There's an abundance. And it's very difficult for me to be able to push back and say, remember your purpose, remember your focus. And sometimes people aren't too happy because they want you to do all these things, and but you just have to remember that the goal is not to be rich. The goal is to focus on where you can make the most impact and where you can add the most value and what really your purpose is. Truthfully, for young people who kind of want to figure stuff out, I'll tell you that I think the best decision I made was choosing the right partner.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV, Serious About Business.
I've been married for 13 years this year, and my husband and I have 2 boys, And, family is very important, right? For us, it really is the most critical thing. And so we try to make sure that we make space for that. More and more, we're focused on living a healthy lifestyle, setting a good example for the boys, spending more time with them, getting them into several activities. And really, I don't want to be that parent who is never available. And I'll tell you the truth, I remember my parents working so hard that I don't recall them picking me up from school very often. I don't recall them being at every single event. They tried, but they were so into working so hard to, and I don't want to do that. And that's something that I've made a commitment that it's just not going to be me. I'm going to be that parent who makes the time to drop you at school and to pick you up, and I want to hear how your day has gone, and I want to spend time with you doing homework, and I want to kind of, enjoy those moments with you so that you know that this is what matters most, And my husband has very similar values, and it's helpful because I think when I reflect on my journey, there are many people who have had an impact on me, and probably my biggest supporter and the person who has really made so much possible for me is my husband. And I have to recognize that you can't do it alone, and you need that strong family support. And then, it helps when you have that type of partner. And, truthfully, for young people who kind of want to figure stuff out, I'll tell you that I think the best decision I made was choosing the right partner and learning very early that we were going to set certain goals and that we were going to go on this path together because you're stronger together. I really believe that. But having an enabling relationship has been so helpful for my journey. So when I do travel, I don't necessarily have to worry because I do have that strong support. I have a big cheerleader, and I have a sounding board, and I have a friend, and that's something that is, can't trade that for the world. That's everything. What makes me jump out of bed every morning is a firm, honest belief that God has called me to this. I believe that. I believe that this is my purpose. And I believe that people are relying on me, and I can change people's lives. And I have the power to do it, and I know I have been doing it. And if I don't do it, there's gonna be a void. So that's what makes me jump out, because people are relying on me in so many different spheres. For years, I've offered mentorship to younger people. I really do a lot in terms of, when I just started business, one of the things that was mandatory was that everybody had to actually give back service. And we would go to, several, for example, missionaries of the poor, and we would volunteer our time. It's not just giving money, it's kind of understanding what the needs are in this country, how people are suffering, and what help you can give, and really just experiencing, because it makes you more grateful and at the same time more determined to make an impact. And one of the best things for me recently was that I went to a pharmacy recently, and I was looking for something, and this young girl who works there said to me, I can help you, but do you remember me? But I meet so many people, so I said, I'm sure I met her, but I can't remember exactly. And she said, you mentored me. I'm from the inner city, and she told me the community, and you were my mentor. And her name is Casey. And she said, thank you. And it brought tears to my eyes, because here was this young girl who literally every night, gunshot, and she had blossomed into this radiant, just articulate, wonderful young girl. And I had had an impact in some way. And I've had other people contact me who I mentored years ago. And so if you can afford to share your time, your wisdom, anything with other people, especially those who are in the position that you were in, oh my God, Many of us forget where we start. That's everything. You know, it's not about the money. Not about cutting a check and you have the PR. What is that? That's not about that, right? It's about really making an impact and touching people. Everything is about people. Wealth for me is living your purpose, doing what you're passionate about, being happy while you're doing it, being happy about the person you are and that you have become, and really enjoying a wholesome life, right? Which means you don't compromise your family, you don't compromise your values, you don't compromise the things that you really stand for, and that you make an impact, a real impact. It's not about money. Not about money, it's about impact. You know, how is this country, this community, this world a better place because of what you've done? And if you really honestly can't say that you've made that impact, I don't think you're successful. I don't think you've really created any real wealth.
Out of 21 finalists in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition, the top contenders were chosen and rewarded for their contribution to social development in Jamaica. This week on Caring Hands, we introduce to you the competition's top 3 finalists. The third place finalist, the Eastwood Gardens Youth for Progress Youth Club, was started just a few years ago. One of their main focuses is the education of young people in the community.
We are 3 years old. We started in 2014 out of a need to assist the children, because in 2014, 18 of our children did the GSAT examination and only 1 passed for traditional high school, and that's what motivated the Vice President and I to start the youth club. We are coming from a community where most of us went to Meadowbrook, Immaculate, St. Andrews Girls, and these students were passing for non-traditional high school, and it was not the norm. So we saw that they needed help, so we decided to help them. And not only that, we also knew that with our youth club there will be opportunities for our youths, and we wanted to see how best we can help them. Since inception, we have created this community library and education room.
So the library finished built in January, thanks to the Ministry of Education and Digital Foundation for the structure of the building and some of the equipment. The NCB Foundation will sponsor some printers. Books are sponsored mainly by the Rotary of Kingston and community members who we went on a book drive and we got the books donated. So the library will provide means for the kids in the community to come and read books, do homework, print homework, and also do researches, and also we have classes to teach them about the music and Spanish, French, and everything.
We also offer music lessons. We offer piano classes and guitar classes on a Monday at 5 p.m. So every Monday at 5, the students come here and they're taught to play the guitar free of cost and the piano. We're also looking to purchase more musical equipment so that we can have a variety of instruments for the children to learn to play. They're expressing interest in the violin, so we're thinking about it. We recently got sponsorship from Australia Aid, and we're doing a recycle project called Eastwood Gardens Recycling of Plastic. Recently we had our cleanup day, which entailed cutting grass and collecting plastic bottles from the gullies and all over the community, and also taking out bulky waste out of our community. We had 4 truckloads of bulky waste that was collected, and we also collected 28 bags of plastics and a lot of garbage.
With the Eastwood Gardens Recycling of Plastics,
We're trying to do a business from the project because we have a lot of recycled plastics. And, reusing is better than recycling. I like to see the kids from the community be involved in that business as an entrepreneur, learning on-the-job training and personal development from being involved in that project.
The Eastwood Gardens Youth for Progress Youth Club caters directly to what persons in the community want or need.
How we identify the various projects is that we look on what is needed in the community and what is the problems and how best we can solve them.
Since the youth club has been established, the youths are more, they love to volunteer. Anytime we say we want to do something, you have a lot of persons willing to volunteer, and they're a little bit more interested in schoolwork, and we had an increase in GSAT passes in 2015 and 2016.
Quiz competition aim was for the GSAT kids that are taking GSAT to make them study more and make it more fun. And I can say for one student, his name is O'Shea. I worked closely with his team, and he was not very good in science. He was very low when he started. He came out as the top science person, so he brings out the best in the students.
The best part of being a part of the youth club is making things happen in the community and doing stuff for other persons, of course. The kids, you can see where they're very appreciative of the things that we do. So making things happen for them and things that they want to happen is very rewarding. You can see the kids are more focused in their actions and they have things to do with their time and energy because they're very energetic, trust me. So I think if we had that in our time, we'd be more focused as well. For example, things like opportunities that they have, like learning an instrument or stuff like that. You never know. One of us could have been, very musically inclined and talented like that, but we didn't get the opportunity. So I believe if the youth club was around then, we'd see more of that.
Welcome to Marine Avenue, the home of the Eastwood Gardens Youth for Progress Youth Club.
So what inspired us to enter this Face of Change competition is the work that we have been doing over the years and assisting the youth. So we're just highlighting the good that we're doing for our community and to highlight our community. Through the Face of Change competition, persons have seen the work that we're doing and also encourage us to continue the work.
Some of the plans that we have, the main plan is to kick off our breakfast program. A lot of time you see the children, they don't go to school. They say, why didn't you go to school today? You didn't have any lunch money. So we want to kick off our breakfast program by purchasing the stuff that we need so that we can start preparing breakfast for the children in the morning. That's the most important meal. So we're seeking sponsorship right now to cover like the fridge and the stove and the supplies that we need. But like the food items that we'll need to cook, we're going to use our recycle project funds to purchase those things. But we just need help to kick off the project off the ground. And another project that we have for the community parents is, we call it the Cassia Park Community Services. This is where we're using the skills from the parents in the community and we're looking jobs for them so that they can help to send their children to school. So we're looking jobs for like all persons that are skilled, like the plumbers, the dressmakers, the homemakers, the persons that can wash and press and iron. We're looking jobs for them, a part of our project that we're launching called Cassia Park Community Services.
The youth club is building youths and shaping them in the right way. So we don't have much crime and violence in the community, and also helping to build Jamaica as a whole.
It's very important for these initiatives and these foundations to be around because children need help. They need guidance, they need supervision. Sometimes parents at home, they don't have time for the kids, so a youth club is something that they can channel their energy in. For example, we had sports day the other day, and the whole community, every day the children come from school, they change and they're just ready. They're practicing for events that happened already. Said, why are you practicing for that? We do that already. No, they're just so interesting, they just want to do everything, and it helps them because it can produce stars. We see Nehemiah Perry was our coach for the cricket match, and he saw talent in two of our individuals. So things like that can help to bring to let persons know that they exist and to give them the help that they need to succeed in life.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
You can trust princesses and ladies. Ask Digicel, they'll tell you.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Empowering our women in every aspect of their lives is extremely vital. Thanks to the second place winners in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition, hundreds of young girls are getting that empowerment from an early age.
Princesses and Ladies is an organization, non-for-profit, where we educate, empower, and help ladies and girls to be better, to do better, to behave better, to think better of themselves, and to just go for it and do best. So we came about because there was a set of ladies who, saw that at that point in the society, a lot of things were happening. A lot of child abuse, a lot of murders, there were just a lot of things going on at that point in 2013, 2014 about there. And so we decided as women and as girls, we needed a platform to speak about some of these things and to get girls and ladies to be comfortable talking about issues and to find ways how to empower them and to get past certain things. So that's how we came about. So as long as you're a girl or you're a lady and you want to speak or you want comfort or you want empowerment or you just want a friend to talk to, you are the person who we are at.
Could be. All right.
We do sessions, we do girls' days, we have events where we just invite girls and ladies to come on and just sit and have a talk. Or if you are a girl who you're at a school and you see a need, you see that your classmates need somebody else than their own teacher to talk to, we'll try and come and to facilitate all that we can. We definitely want to be able to impact girls. We want them to be empowered. We want them to be able to achieve certain things that they never even thought of. We want them to be able to go to the university and get certified. We want them to be able to go to Heart Trust and be able to be certified also. We want them to be able to believe in themselves and to go for whatever they want to go for.
For Simone, being able to assist others through the Princesses and Ladies Inc. is extremely important as she's able to put herself in the shoes of other young women in need.
Well, it's important for me because being a girl, being a lady, I wanted platforms to speak. I wanted a voice. I wanted an ear to listen. I wanted somewhere where, it's level and whatever I say will not go against me. Girls need help. It is important for you as a Christian and as a person to just give back. And so it is important for us to be helpers. It is important for us to be there for somebody, to become that shoulder, to become that pillow for somebody else. So it is also important for us to be able to help smaller girls to grow the way they are supposed to. And we think that it will make the society better. When you have a comfortable woman at home, when you have a comfortable girl, when you have girls that are confident and that are hopeful, it makes the society better.
While the members of the Princesses and Ladies Inc. carry out their various activities, they get support from a few organizations.
So we partner with SOSOCA, we partner with Child Development Agency, we partner with several different organizations such as Ministry of Youth and Ministry of Education. We also have other partners that, are not wish to be mentioned who really come on board and help us. And we also have Digicel on board with us too this year, which is such a plus. Our partner overseas, which is our CEO, she got information about the Digicel Face of Change competition, and we were elated. We went on board and we came together and we said, okay, this is our big chance. This is a big platform for us. And so all of our members everywhere, in Cayman, in Africa, in the US, in Jamaica, all of us just came on board because we needed help and we needed to be partnered with somebody such as Digicel that has a good name, a company that can trust, a company that will always be there. So, all of us just came in and did our part. Being in second place, it gave us that platform to be known. It gives us exposure. It helped us to reach others. It helps others to know about us and to be able to trust us being affiliated with Digicel. So the last time we had over 200 girls, and all of those girls have potential. All of them want somebody to help them. And so back to school is a big thing. So school books, supplies, personal items, and might I say we work closely with two major girls' homes. And one of them, most of those girls are mothers. And so they need stuff. They need stuff for their babies. They need personal items. So the need is great. I mean, coming to the event that we have every year in July, girls need to be fed. I mean, they need, places to go, and we need resources to host these things. We need tents, we need food, we need money to be able to get their stuff. So it's a lot. There are instances where we have girls who will come up to us and say, I was at the event and I was going through this, and so I know that I can do this now, or I know now that I can talk to this person, or I know that this agency is able to help me. And so we feel like we're doing something, we feel like we're getting somewhere, we feel like, okay, we have contributed to some life, because that same girl, she's wearing her skirts a little bit longer, she's trying to speak the Queen's English, she's doing better in school, the grades are going up, mommy's saying, okay, I mean, the behavior is sorting out, we're talking more, I'm understanding her more. You have mothers who come to us and say, Miss, I really appreciate this. This was happening to us. I didn't know how to deal with it, but with your help, with that session with SOSOCA, with that help with the Ministry of Education, we are sorting things out and things are better at home. Jamaica, we need you. There are a lot of businesses and a lot of persons that are out there who really wants to help, and they don't know who you can trust, princesses and ladies. Ask Digicel, they'll tell you. You can trust us, we need help. We need hands, we need hearts, we need help. Our main mission is to educate, empower, and to achieve however we can. So we want girls to be able to go to school, get certified, be the change, stand out, be that girl that mommy wants you to be. I mean, we know that some manners, things are not so well, but we know that this is the right way. And so as a girl and as a Princesses and Ladies affiliate, we are going to be that standout. We are going to be able to do all the good things that are supposed to be done and to be an overall good citizen.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
It was a combined effort that really got us to be champions.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your
business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
They say charity begins at home. For many, the first place winners in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition, the Bethel New Testament Church of God, is considered home.
Bethel New Testament Church of God has been, over the years, a church that caters to the need of the less fortunate. And we serve the community of Arnett Gardens, Lincoln Road, Russell Road, Top Jungle, and other surrounding areas. And we have been playing a vital role in offering services. We have an early childhood institution here. We have a feeding program as well. We also offer services to the community with our computer lab. So persons who are, doing like CXC, information technology, those who are doing their SBAs, they come on over and print, and just about anything that has to do with computer and information technology. We try to offer the best services we can. Our church has quite a number of programs that are running. For our teenagers, we have what is called the Performing Arts Ministry. And mostly teenagers are drawn to the Performing Arts Ministry. And we have young adults who supervise them and all of that. We also have what is called the benevolence arm of the church that caters to the needs of the less fortunate. And so the benevolence arm of the church basically takes care of those who are in need, whether they are in need of food items, financial needs, and so forth.
Benevolent committee is something that goes to help people who are in need. You just don't help in just food or, you give love, you listen, you participate in their lives, whatever it is that they are in need of. The benevolent committee will try to assist in that area.
Through Food for the Poor and frequent collaborations with the Pentecostal Church on Windward Road, the Bethel New Testament Church of God is able to distribute food items to its church and community members.
When we do collect the stuff from Food for the Poor, we take a day when we'll come and we will just wrap out whatever it is to be wrapped, whether rice, peas, sausage, bean and so forth. And then now on a Sunday when we come, we'll make it announced from the rostrum to the pews of the church. Persons will come around, and especially for those who are more in need, we look out for those, and especially the elderly. We cater for them first, and then for the others who are not, as less fortunate as. Because there are more who's less fortunate than others.
We try to reach as much as we can at all times, as long as we have the provision, right? So, like monthly, sometime every 6 weeks, 2 months, it depends on how we have the things. So we would reach them in that kind of a way.
So there are persons within the church. We have young, vibrant adults who participate, put on competitions. So one of the competitions, they always have a summer program, a football competition, six-a-side competition. Sometimes it is held in the churchyard, sometimes it is held on the football field. But it's a six-a-side competition that the church uses as an initiative to bring young men together, to evangelize. So we don't only just have sports, but we use it as a tool to evangelize. And what we find is that, we have a lot of young men from the community who participate. Also, we enter other competitions that are put on within the community as well. And from time to time, we have been champions in these areas because we have a very wonderful set of young people who are very competitive and they are excellent at what they do.
The Bethel New Testament Church of God is a small church in the inner city community of Arnett Gardens, South St. Andrew, Jamaica.
We heard of the Face of Change competition from a member here who introduced us to the competition, told us that Digicel Foundation has a competition going and we should enter, and it's going to take a lot of work. And so, it would be good if we could jump on board and be a part of it. And I totally agreed with it, and we sold the ideas for us to be voting every day. So what we did, we got the entire church voting. And there are some of the elders who are not so techno-savvy. We got the young people to really teach them how to use the phone to vote, how you go online and how you vote. We also got the diaspora involved in that way. Our friends and families, members of the church who are abroad, we told them about this initiative and we told them that they need to vote and they have to vote every day as much as they can. And they too got on board and they began to vote. And so we never let up from day one to the end. We kept on voting every day as much as we can, all day, every day. So, so it was champions. One of the things it has done for me personally, and for the church as well, it has given us quite a lot of recognition. There are many persons who did not know about our church. There were even some people in the community as well who did not know about our church. And since Digicel Face of Change, persons have come to recognize us, persons have gotten the chance to know some more about us. And there are persons who have, reached out to us as well, some wanting to assist us with the programs that we do here. Our Digicel Face of Change honorarium, what we're going to be doing is building a resource center where we'll house a new computer lab fitted with an e-library to serve the entire community. So we want to let people know from now that in the future they can come here to Bethel and they can use the lab for whatever studies they're doing. They can use it for social media, whatever. So we want to offer that service so that the next generation can be able to move forward and be able to keep up with what is happening in technology.
The Word of God said we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So whatever good thing that we are wanting for ourselves, then we should want it for each other. So if there are people who are in need in different areas of their lives, then, it would be good for us to try to assist and help the best way we can.
Over time, the greatest thing that I'd love to see in the community is for the community to live in peace, for the community to embrace peace and to love each other, forgive each other, and basically have more fellowship with each other. We find out that too many of our young men are losing their lives daily. And yes, the church is praying and all of that, but if they'd only handle conflicts in a better way, then we'd have less crime and violence. So that's one of the major changes that I'd love to see. And I'd love to see not just the church, but other entities jump on board and try to assist persons who are less fortunate in whatever way they can. Because it's better to give than to receive, as the scripture says. So if we can reach out and help somebody along the way and make a difference in their lives, I'm sure that we can, from one person to an entire community to the entire nation, we can make a change.
We applaud all entrants in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition and hope that you too are inspired to give back to your community and, by extension, our nation.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for